Now, as far as keeping a planted aquarium is concerned, it can be very basic or it can be very technical. Now, if you have very high lighting and you start running CO2 and you want the very difficult plants to keep, such as Ricca, and you want the world's most spectacular planted aquarium, then it will be what's called a high-tech planted aquarium, which is a delicate balance of basically CO2 and oxygen production and fertilization. Or if you want a very low-fi planted aquarium, you can go for very easy to keep plants such as Anubias, rock fern, and other species that look extremely beautiful, but you can't kill them with a stick. Now, a plant has 3 basic minimum requirements, and no plants have exactly the same requirements. So in general, the broadleaf ones don't need as much light as the fine-leafed ones, and there are other generalizations that aren't necessarily true. And when you're picking plants, you can either get plants that suit your tank, just like going to the nursery and you go get 10 different types of plants from in your garden, and sure enough, some of them will go awesome, some of them will go okay, and some of them won't go at all. And that's the same for a fish tank. If you go to the shop, buy a whole bunch of aquatic plants for your tank, some of them you might end up buying might not even be full aquatic plants. So therefore, some will do really well, some will go okay, and some will die off. So that's a totally valid way of seeing which plants suit your aquarium. Otherwise, if you do a little bit more research into the plants, which are highlight plants, which are low light plants, what light the various plants want. So this, in regards to light, the sun is 5,500 Kelvin, and as you get deeper in the water, the Kelvin rating increases. So the 20,000 Kelvin is very blue, so therefore if you ran that on a planted aquarium, it would all in all look terrible, would not bring out the colours of the plants, and the plants would grow very tall and thin. If you grow the plants under a 5,500 Kelvin light, it'll look terrible as well. The plants will grow very bushy, look very yellow. If you go for, say, 8,000 Kelvin, you find that looks pretty well right. You get good growth in your plants, you get good shape in your plants, and you get good colour in your fish. So the Kelvin rating of the globe is going to affect the way the plants grow, how the plants grow, how fast the plants grow, and how the fish look. So it does need to be a balance between the light spectrum to make the fish look nice, and so something around 8 or 10,000 Kelvin make the fish look good. If it's too low, it washes the fish out and makes them look terrible, and if it's too high, then some fish look great and some look terrible. So if you go for a light around 10,000 Kelvin or 8,000 Kelvin, that's great for your plants, but you do want to experiment with which plants you have, because not all plants require the same light. So light is one consideration, and there are a couple of other considerations. One is CO2. So if you want a high-tech system, by all means you can get a CO2 system. A lot of people are too lazy to do that. So in a perfect world you would have a CO2 system. Then on the other hand, you can also use organic carbon as a substitute for CO2. It does actually work very well, and it's fairly cost efficient. So you can just run your Carbomax on a dosing pump. So this is a dosing pump, and what this will do is allow you to automatically dose your CO2 or organic carbon, so you can slowly dial that level up until your plants look nice. Then the other thing is fertilizer. So 1 is light, 2 is CO2, and 3 is fertilizer. So you can get various laterites and various substrate fertilizers, or you can use liquid fertilizers. You will get different results for different plants. So once again, if you're trying to grow a certain plant specifically, you're better off doing a bit of research on that particular plant and then offering the environment that that plant requires. On the other hand, if you're a Bob's your uncle, she'll be right mate aquarist that just wants a simple life, then you'll probably just go and get a whole bunch of plants and see which ones suit you. You'll offer lighting that you can afford, and then you'll supplement these, say, let's say once a week or once every 2 weeks, or twice a week or once a week, and you just supplement yourself. And that's your Bob's your uncle approach. The Bob's Your Uncle approach works for most plants, but not all of them. But then again, no method works for all of them. Then, if you want to get a bit fancier, you might go for the organic carbon supplementing and the fertilizer and put it on a dosing system. So, other than that, it's important to watch your general water quality. Make sure you've got fish in there to provide an organic nutrient for your plants. Make sure you test your water okay. pH, definitely KH, occasionally GH, occasionally ammonia and nitrite, occasionally phosphate and nitrate. So get a good idea of your water quality, even if it just means bringing a sample of water down to the shop every now and then with a video of the tank running, just so we can look over it for you to do a bit of analysis on how it's going. But other than that, it's just you let your plants tell you, because if your plants are doing well and your plants are growing and you're happy with your plants, then there's nothing broken and there's nothing for you to fix. On the other hand, if your plants are not doing well and you're not happy with the growth and color and health of your plants, then the things to look into is what light have you got, how often are the lights on, what CO2 are you offering, how often are you offering it, how much are you offering it, and what fertilizer are you offering, and how much are you offering it, and what fish are in the tank. Obviously you can't go putting in fish like silver dollars or scats that'll mow the plants down, but looking into those three things, they are the three basic minimum requirements of a plant: light, fertilizer, and CO2. Anyway, if you've got any more questions, just email us here at Majestic Aquariums. We're more than happy to help, and regardless of whether you want a high-tech or a low-tech plant tank, set it up properly and it will be a pleasure for many years to come.